Another episode of After Effects with Mr. Flores. Today we are going to learn how to use our opacity, our position, our rotation, and scale transformation tools. Okay, so go to After Effects. We're going to press New Project, and of course here's our interface. And we're going to continue. We're going to go with New Composition, and we're going to name it Animations. We're going to go to 920, 1080, 24 frames per second for our frame rate right here, and make sure you're at 5 seconds. We don't need any more than that right now. And then we press OK. And there you go. This is our interface. Now, one thing I want to do, make sure you can go to your panel here where it says Animations, open up these little lines, go to Columns, and make sure you click on Modes. A lot of us don't have it, so just make sure you click there. And that way we have this right now. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're learning how to use basic simple tools that we can use to animate objects, our shapes, whatever we want to animate. So we got to learn how to look for things, okay? So what we're going to do, we're just simply going to animate a square, a box. And very simple, but it's very important that we learn how to do it, okay? So I'm going to go up to my tools, and I'm going to click here. Of course, if I want to change the color, I can just click here on the fill. But right now, I just want to keep it white, and I'm going to make the perfect square. And how do we make a perfect square? We hold down our Shift key, and we have the perfect square. Of course, go to my Move tool, and then I can move it where I want. Right there, okay? So now what I want to do is I want to open up. You see right here we have our layers, we have our transforms over here. But right here we can open this up, and here we also have anchor point, position, scale, rotation, and opacity. So I'm going to close this up real quick because I want to show you a quick shortcut. So I'm going to hit T on my keyboard, and boom, I open up my opacity. Now if I want to get rid of it, because I do want to work with other things, I can click on here, and then I can open this up. And there we go again. So I just want to click on the opacity because that's what we're going to work with. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a keyframe. So right now I'm going to go to roughly about 2 seconds. And also our work area, I want to just mess with our work area. I just want to work right here within 4 seconds. That way, when we press our space bar, they'll just render this out. Okay, so right now, okay, so I'm going to add my keyframe, and by coming over here, I'm at 100% my opacity, and I'm going to hit the stopwatch, and this stopwatch is going to add a keyframe, and boom, it's right there. One thing about keyframes here in After Effects, we can move them. We can just simply click on it, and then we can move it over here. We can go to 2 seconds, we can go to 2.5 or 3. Maybe let's just go to 2 seconds. There. Now, I want to fade this box in. So I'm going to go back to my starting point at 0, 0, 0. This is called a CTI, or we can just call it the TI, which is our time indicator. And I'm going to go to 0. I'm just going to hover my mouse over it. And I have these little arrows. I can click, and I can go all the way down to 0. And if you notice, I have another keyframe, and I didn't come over here and click on the stopwatch. I just simply just clicked over here, moved the adjustments, and it gave me a keyframe. Now, if I want to, I can also delete the keyframe just by clicking on it and deleting it, and there you go. But I want to keep it, so I'm going to go back to 0, and then this is what I'm going to hit my space bar, and boom, we have our going from 0 to 100%. Okay. Now let's just move this over here. This is our work area, and that way when we do it, it just goes from there to there. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to fade it out. So I'm going to simply just move my keyframe over here to 1.5, and then I'm going to add a keyframe so we can fade it out here. And so it's still 100%, but once I go to 0, it's going to fade out, and boom, I have another keyframe. Hit my space bar, and goes in and quickly fades out. Now, one thing I do want to do, I want to keep my box on just a couple, maybe a couple frames. So I'm just going to simply move my TI here, and I'm at 74%. I'm just going to move it to 100. And then this is what's going to happen. It's going to fade in, stay, and then start fading out. Now, if I want to do this, I can just simply move this here. I can move this also, and then boom. It's there, and there. Okay, so that's what I have right now. Now, this is how we use opacity. Now, of course, I just want to, now we're going to move on to position. I'm just going to highlight these keyframes, and I'm just going to delete. Okay, so now I'm still going to go at 2 seconds, but now I'm going to get rid of my opacity. I'm going to work with position. And in my position, I'm going to hit my keyframe. I want this right here. And then I'm going to, what I want to do is I want this box to come in, okay? So this is where I want to end it up. So this is going to be my keyframe where I want to end it. And I'm going to start here. And I'm going to hold down my shift key because I want a straight line. And let's see if it works, because sometimes it doesn't work, but it's working. So if I want to go to the side, I can go straight up, but I want to go down, and this is how it does it. And this is what I want to do now. It's just a simple square, but what I want to do is I want to make it bigger. I want to scale it up. So when it gets here, it's going to be big. So I'm going to go to my scale, and I'm going to move it up. It's at 100. I'm going to move it to about 150, and I'm going to hit my keyframe. Now I'm going to go back, and you notice it's still there. It's still at 150, but I want to slowly come in, so then I'm just going to go back, and I'm going to go back to 100. Okay, and let's see what it does. See how I made it bigger. Okay, so then now what we're going to do is we're going to add a simple rotation. So I'm just going to go here in our simple rotation. I'm going to start my rotation here. I'm going to hit my keyframe, and let's see, this is a little tricky. I want it to come this way, so I'm going to go to the left at about 45. I'm going to come here, then I'm going to go back to 0. And then now let's see what happens. And this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to rotate in. Now, if I wanted to do this faster, let's say it's just taking too long to do it, I can just simply highlight everything. I can move it over here, and this is what it will do. Boom, faster. And now what I want to do is I'm just going to simply just move it back roughly around there at 2 seconds. And then I'm going to add, a motion blur. Okay, so that way when we come over here, it's a little bit more realistic. We're going to add a motion blur. And so just by adding a motion blur, I'm going to come over here to this little icon. It enables a motion blur for all the layers. Okay, so I'm just going to click here, and let's see. And if you notice, I just zoomed in. There's this little motion blur right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right here. Okay. Then I'm just going to go click back, and then that way I can see it. Okay. Now, one thing I want us to do is I want it to ease in. I want everything to just like ease in. And so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to simply highlight all the layers. Just simply click over here, highlight, and I'm going to right click on the keyframes. And when I right click on the keyframes, it's just going to go to keyframe assistant, and I'm going to easy ease. And if you notice on how the keyframes look, it looks more like an hourglass. So then now, of course, this I kind of want this to move down, so I can just go back to position, and then I can just move it down so it's completely down, and let's see, it's completely off the frame, and then it's easy. And now, of course, if I don't want to do this, I can always just simply click on these and I can take it out. We don't have to have it. We can just click, we can do whatever we want once we have it. Now, okay, so so far we've learned how to use our opacity, our position, scale, and rotation. Now we're just going to do something a little bit different. I just want to show you. We will maybe use it later on in After Effects, but right now I just want to show you something where that looks pretty cool. It looks scary. I don't know about scary, but it just looks. Let me just show you. Okay, so we're going to hit this graph editor. Okay, and then I'm going to highlight our position. And actually, I want to highlight all of them. Just click on this. And if you see this has this. Now, if you don't see what I'm seeing, you might have it on a different graph. So come over to this icon, click on it, and make sure you're in edit speed graph, okay? So you might, by default, it might be an edit value. That's not what we want. We want edit speed graph, and so we're going to click there. And then by clicking here, we're going to click on position. And if you see these little handlebars, we can adjust it the way we want. And for right now, we don't need to do anything special, but I just want to show you something like this, okay? And then we hit Command Z, or we can go to edit up here and we can undo, okay? So this is what I want you to do now. I want you to take a screenshot. I want you to move this over, and we're going to see this, but I want to see this. I want to make sure that you have this highlighted, and I want to make sure you have this graph editor with the box, okay? Screenshot this and turn it into the day's lesson in practice, okay? If you have any questions or you have concerns, I will answer them, and I'll be walking around, okay? This is what we're going to do, because our end goal is to create a shape, and what we are going to do is we're going to do the bouncing ball. We have to do a bouncing ball here in After Effects, of course, right? Because that's what we think of animation. All right, and thank you, and see you later.